Little by little, the economy has declined to a point where almost everyone is struggling, Michael Snyder reports. It happened so gradually that a lot of people did not even realize what was happening. The cost of living just kept rising faster than paychecks were, and little by little our standard of living just kept going down. Now we've reached a stage where the ultra-wealthy are thriving, but almost everyone else is struggling. For most people, it's a real fight just to pay the bills from month to month. The majority of the population is deep in debt, and meanwhile, the cost of just about everything is going up and up. Millions of Americans feel like they're drowning financially, and there is no easy way out. Sadly, many of them don't even realize that the game was designed to get them onto a hamster wheel and keep them running for as long as possible. When I was a kid, the United States had very large and very prosperous middle class. Life certainly was not perfect in those days, but just about everyone that I knew could afford to live a comfortable middle class lifestyle. Sadly, now everything has changed. According to a survey that was just conducted by 7-Letter Insight, 65% of Americans who earn more than 200% of the federal poverty level admit that they were struggling financially. In the large poll of 2,500 adults, 65% of people who earn more than 200% of the federal poverty level, that's at least $60,000 for a family of four, often considered middle class, said they are struggling financially. If 65% of those that earn more than 200% of the federal poverty level are struggling, what about those that earn less than that? Needless to say, almost all of them are struggling. That same survey discovered that 46% of Americans don't even have $500 saved up. About 40% of respondents were unable to plan beyond their next paycheck, and 46% did not have $500 saved. The February poll found that more than half said it's at least somewhat difficult to manage current levels of debt. Over the past couple of years, the stock market has been booming, and the ultra-wealthy have been getting richer and richer. But things have been getting worse for virtually all the rest of us. According to Zillow, over the past 4 years, the monthly mortgage payments on a typical U.S. home has nearly doubled. Yes, in 4 years, doubled. The real estate firm Zillow reports that since January 2020, the monthly mortgage payment on a typical U.S. home has nearly doubled. It's up 96% in just 4 years. And according to Zillow, a typical buyer will now pay nearly $2,200 a month with a 10% down payment, meaning home ownership now costs well above the 30% of median income that was once thought to be equal to affordable housing cost in America. Has your income doubled over the past 4 years? If not, you're falling behind. The American people absolutely hate what's being done to their standard of living. In fact, during a recent interview, Neel Kashkari absolutely observed that Americans really viscerally hate high inflation. Well, who doesn't? Neel Kashkari, the president of the Federal Reserve Bank of Minneapolis, says one of the things that he has learned in the past few years is that consumers would rather see the economy fall into a recession than to continue to suffer the pain of soaring prices. The American people, and maybe people in Europe equally, really hate high inflation, Kashkari told Financial Times podcast, The Economic Show with Sumaya Keynes last week. I mean, really viscerally hate high inflation, he said. And he's right. I really detest inflation. I'm sure you do too. But what he did not mention is that the Federal Reserve and our politicians in Washington are responsible for creating the epic cost of living crisis that we are currently facing. They caused this mess, and now they don't seem to have any solutions for cleaning it up. Meanwhile, economic activity just continues to slow down. On Tuesday, we learned that the number of jobs opening in the U.S. has fallen to the lowest level in more than 3 years. Job openings fell more than forecast in April, signaling a potential weakening in the labor market that could provide the Federal Reserve with more impetus to start lowering interest rates. The Labor Department's job openings and labor turnover survey, released Tuesday, showed that the level of employment vacancies slipped to 8.06 million for the month, down nearly 300,000 from March, and close to 19% lower than a year ago. And moreover, the total marked the lowest since February 2021. And more workers are being dumped into the streets with each passing day. For example, Rubio's Coastal Grill just announced that it will be permanently closing 48 locations in the state of California. California's $20 an hour fast food minimum wage has its first casualty. Mexican chain Rubio's Coastal Grill is shuttering 48 restaurants in the state because of the rising cost of doing business in California. While painful, the store closures are a necessary step in our strategic long-term plan to position Rubio's for success for years to come, a Rubio spokesperson added. As this year rolls along, we will see a lot more stories like this. For a long time, our leaders are able to keep the party going by flooding the system with money. But now inflation is out of control and we have reached the terminal phase of the greatest credit bubble in human history. Mark Spitznagel, Chief Investment Officer of Universa Investments, is known for being a perma-bear when it comes to the stock market outlook. Spitznagel told Bloomberg in an earlier interview that we are witnessing the greatest credit bubble in human history. Credit bubble ends, they pop. There's no way to stop them from popping, he said, adding that the Fed has brought the economy to a place where there is no turning back. Spitznagel is right on target. There is really no turning back now. Our leaders have wrecked the greatest economic machine in the history of the world. What is ahead of us is a tremendous amount of pain. So if you think that things are bad now, just wait until you see what's coming next. For years, little by little, our standard of living has been collapsing, but now we're entering a time when our economic slide will become an economic avalanche. Decades of absolutely disastrous decisions have brought us to this point, and now we shall truly reap what we have sown. This is by Michael Snyder on the Economic Collapse blog. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. This is by Michael Snyder. About the author, Michael Snyder's extremely controversial new book entitled Chaos is available in paperback and for Kindle on Amazon. He's also written 7 other books that are available on Amazon, including End Times, 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies, Future of America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters. When you purchase any of Michael's books, you help to support the work he's doing. You can also get his articles by email as soon as he publishes them by subscribing to his Substack newsletter. Michael has published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and the Most Important News. And he always freely and happily allows others to republish those articles on their own websites. These are such troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, we strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.